So you're all doing well. Welcome to the deadline stream for game week 25. Of course, it is a double game week and it is a Friday deadline. So you're watching this right now live. Happy days. You are aware of the deadline. If you're watching this back, maybe 6:30 p.m. onwards on a Friday, then I hate to be the one to break it to you. You have missed the deadline. So as always, guys, if you have any questions, please do pop them in the chat. I've got to be honest with you. This week has been tricky. I've been ill throughout the week. It has been hard to kind of navigate all the FPL news. And now, if you've missed it, we've just had double game week 32 announced for Crystal Palace and Newcastle, which has just thrown a massive spanner in the works. And as somebody who obviously works full time, trying to balance this, rushing home for a Friday deadline is not good. So I'm going to put out there, I don't actually know what I'm doing with my team right now. I was waiting for the updates regarding some key players like Gordon, like Gakpo, for example. Don't have Gakpo myself, but for those that are wondering. So I wanted to give you guys a bit of an update on exactly what my plans are with the team, because I'm only just now trying to get it all together and decide what to do. So as always, if you're going to look forward to it, guys, drop a like on the stream. Always massively appreciated. I've got to put it out there as well. We are this close to 20k subscribers. I had this goal at the end of the season to hit 20k. We are like 80 off. We're not going to hit it on this live stream, but if you're watching this right now, you enjoy the good stuff, it'll be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. Give it a week. If you don't enjoy it, then there's no hard feelings whatsoever. So I can see some usual suspects in the chat. Taylor, hope you're well. Sean, Gary, Callum, Osgur, hope you're well. We're going to cover off those questions, but I also want to give you guys a bit of an update on some key players, of course, that are injury doubts or have also been confirmed. So let's just take a look first and foremost at my team. And I also want to give you an update on, of course, those players that I mentioned. So first up, Anthony Gordon was a major doubt going into this weekend. We know Eddie Howe likes to lie. However, he has come out and stated that Gordon should be fine for this Man City game. Now, we know Gordon is one of those players that blanks in game week 29, so isn't a fantastic long-term pick. But I do think for this game week, if you need to keep him, he is absolutely fine for your teams. So I don't think Gordon is a desperate sell anymore. In terms of Trent, no real update on Trent. Sounds like we're all going to be taking guesses really on whether he starts the Wolves game. I think he probably starts one, bench the other. I think he probably is benched for the Wolves game and starts the Aston Villa game. But again, we all have to create our own narratives on this situation. I see no reason why we should be selling Trent. In terms of the other key players, Ndai ruled out for the next few weeks, not ideal at all. You can hold him for game week 29 and then reassess because, of course, he features in that, but we don't know. The good thing, this is middle of March, so I think there should be enough time for him to recover between now and then. Quickly, some of the other players that we need to talk about who have been injury doubts. First up, not injured, but is expecting a baby. He has posted on Instagram and stated that he should be fine for the game. So if you're still buying Cliver, I think we just come to the assumption that you are taking a risk because the newborn could be born any minute, but he also is a fantastic pick. The fixtures are great. I can't knock anybody going for Clivert. Nicholas Jackson ruled out for the foreseeable future. He is a sell in your teams. The big one that is going to affect a lot of managers is going to be Cody Gakpo. Now, he is currently one of the most bought players going into double game week 25. But we have had quotes from Slot suggesting that he is going to be a major doubt for the Wolves game. Now, of course, it is a double game week, so you might get the Aston Villa game. But taking out that Wolves game is not an ideal situation. And then they come into some tricky games with Man City away and Newcastle in 27. So Gakpo is a difficult one. Do not be buying him right now at all. The other one that is huge is going to be Ollie Watkins. Now, we've had the news that he is quote-unquote fit for game week 25. Read into that what you will. I think he probably gets significant minutes in the Liverpool game and probably gets 60 minutes in the Ipswich game because they have players now who can play in the forward line. They have got people like Milan. They have got people, Milan, I can never pronounce it. Also got Rashford who could play as a striker. Watkins coming back from this injury. I would just be astonished if he was to play 180 minutes in this double game week. I think he's a fantastic buy, but you need to remember maybe hedge or slightly dampen those expected minutes. I think it could be closer to maybe 120 as opposed to 160. But again, let me know in the comment section what you guys are anticipating for Watkins. I would love to go there, and I do think there is an argument to sell Alexander Isak to someone like an Ollie Watkins, but as of right now, I just don't know if I can get there. And Cameron is saying it's Milan. So there we go. It's Milan, not Milan, as I've been saying at times. Milan. So let's go through some of the questions, and then we're going to touch off on my team, because it's still up in the air right now what I'm going to be doing. So Taylor's asking which one, Gakpo to Cunha and start Cunha or Gordon. Gordon to a Bournemouth mid and bench Gakpo. If you're benching Gakpo, I would just say you probably got to sell him, to be honest with you. Gordon to a Bournemouth mid and Gakpo to Watkins for a -4 and start Watkins or the Bournemouth mid. So the big thing really with you, mate, is if you are buying a Bournemouth mid, you have to start them. So I don't love the option of like start Watkins or the Bournemouth mid. I think you've got to start both. So probably would lean towards maybe the Gakpo to Cunha move and start Cunha. But again, if you're keeping Gordon, I think you've got to keep him or sell him, to be honest with you. Sean, would you take a -8 for Visser and slot for Emery and Watkins? No, I would just stick with what you got there, mate. I don't think the -8 will pay off at all. Gary, hope you're well. Callum, start Huijsen, or Robinson. Now, this is a tricky one because Huijsen does have a great fixture away against Southampton. Robinson offers a bit more attacking potential. A quick reminder of the fixtures here. For me, I still back Nottingham Forest to score in any game. So I think I'm going to lean towards Huijsen and just think that Bournemouth will win that game. I don't think it'll be comfortable, but I think they will win that game. Oscar saying, sounds like a wild card for week 32, I think. Yes, so this is really interesting right now. This will be good for me to put up the projections. Now, this is taken from FPL.team. Make sure you guys check it out. And they collaborate with Planet FPL for some projected fixtures. So we're just going to quickly run through these very, very quickly. Game week 25 is a double, as we know. 26, 27 and 28 are going to be single game weeks unless some sort of late announcement happens. Then we're going to have game week 29 a blank for Aston Villa, Palace, Liverpool and Newcastle that we knew already. Now, we were anticipating that blank game week fixture of Newcastle versus Palace to go into game week 33. However, it's officially been announced that that is now going into game week 32. So you can see there, Palace will have a double. It's a tricky one. Away against Man City and away against Newcastle. Meanwhile, Newcastle will have a double and is quite favourable at home against Man United and at home against Crystal Palace. And either side of that, we got Brentford at home, Leicester away, double, Villa away, Ipswich at home. So if you are one of those managers right now that is thinking to themselves, I want to sell Alexander Isak to bring in Ollie Watkins, I actually think it's fine to do so because you are going to sell Isak with the upcoming fixtures of City, Forest, Liverpool and West Ham and then a blank. And then you can wildcard him back in game week 30 or game week 31. The only thing you need to remember, well, the two things is, one, you're going to have to buy him back regardless in game week 30 or 31, whichever one you deem priority. And secondly, if you've accumulated a lot of value in Isak, you might be paying a bit more of a premium to get him back in your teams. So game week 32 is now a double. Game week 33 is a projected double, but again, we have no announcements yet on that one. Game week 34 will be a blank game week. Game week 35, 36, 37, 38 could be between now and then single game weeks. But I think the general consensus right now is if you can get through game week 29 with free transfers and just play a team, right now, I think the general strategy is going to be wildcard in game week 30 or 31, depending on where you want to go. Triple captain in game week 32, bench boost in game week 33, and then free hit in game week 34. I think that's probably going to be a very popular strategy. Of course, if you've got the assistant manager chip available, then that is going to throw a bit of a curveball out there. You could easily go for assistant manager in game week 31, 32, 33 if you wanted to, and then free hit in 34. Lots of different avenues, lots of different combinations that I probably will bore you with, but we need to remember these projected fixtures and also the official announced ones. Yes, we are 100% sure that Arne Slot is not affected by that red card. He didn't get any negative points with the red card, and he will not be impacted by being on the touchline. Sorry, by not being on the touchline. You are buying the team as opposed to the manager. I know it's called assistant manager, but it is actually Liverpool that you're buying, not Arne Slot as an actual person. So that is really important to note. Steamboat saying, start Elanga or Beto. Well, how can you bench Beto after that performance in the double game week? I think I'll be tempted to start still start Beto, to be honest. I think there's a feel-good factor right now of Everton. I think I would probably go Beto again. More Trent Nico, we're doing well. Gutam is saying, hey man, hope you're doing well. Very well, mate. Hope you are too. Would you go for Huijsen or Kirkes? Are Arsenal players worth a punt for here on in? Thinking of Rodgers or Trossard next game week. Well, I think if you're bringing in Arsenal, you kind of want to bring him in now because you get a piece of that Leicester fixture. Otherwise, if you do it next week, you're then doing West Ham at home, Forest, Man United, yeah, and Chelsea. But they're not incredible fixtures after that. So I don't think the Trossard move is actually justifiable. Huijsen or Kirkes depends on your budget. For me, with quite low team value, I'd actually rather just go Huijsen and just let it be. And Arsenal players worth a punt. I think there's some options. We got Enquiries. He's fine, but is he actually going to be in the team for game week 29, which is the really important one that we need to remember? That is the big question mark here. Mateta or Mbeumo to bench? The answer there, Antoine, is neither. Neither in that situation. Who are you starting over that? And Ndiaye Cunha next game week, yes, I do like that move. You're getting someone for game week 29 where Ndiaye might have a long-term injury. We don't really know the full extent of it. I know there's some reports there might be a couple of weeks, but a couple of weeks could easily lean to a month, and then he's out for the blank game week. I do apologise, guys, if I'm a little bit under the weather. I've just been ill this week, so voice goes a little bit at times. I'll see what super chat here from Scott. Much appreciated, Scott. Always on the stream, so it's always awesome to see you. Scott's asked, I have Sells, Gabriel, Trent, Huijsen, Mbeumo. I'm going to guess that's Mbeumo. Salah, Palmer, Kluivert, Semenyo, Isak, Wood, bench of Fabianski, Robinson, Visser, O'Shea, assistant manager on slot, 0.5 million, one free transfer. Any advice? Yes. So first, Scott, thank you so much on that one. I think you've got to look at your team and ask yourself, are there any players this game week in isolation that you absolutely are desperate to bring in? So if we put up the fixtures, because I think that's the way I always like to play it out. So you've already got your triple Liverpool in Trent, Salah and Slot. Fantastic. You've got 3 of the double game weekers. In terms of Aston Villa, you have no coverage in Aston Villa. So it all comes down to personal preference. Do you want to do Isak to Watkins? If you do, that obviously is a consideration for your team. If not, then I think in your situation, you probably are looking to avoid Aston Villa because I can't recommend selling any of the midfielders that you currently have for someone like a Morgan Rogers. So then I look at the rest of the fixtures and think, where are we really chasing any upside? I don't really think you need to get an Arsenal player for this game week outside of Gabriel. Isak and Wood, perfectly fine for this week. So for me, mate, with one free transfer available, I think you give yourself a bit more flexibility on future game weeks and you roll the transfer. I mean, the fact you got Visser on the bench is also a massive bonus. I mean, I'm leaning on him this week, so you've got a really strong bench. I'd roll the transfer, give yourself flexibility in upcoming game weeks. That's the route I would go for as opposed to forcing a transfer in your team and maybe chasing a double game weeker like an Ollie Watkins or a Morgan Rogers. Hopefully that does help, mate. So guys, keep putting... Oh, Barcola, I hope you're well, mate. Yes, I have seen your stuff on the videos. Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in, mate. Pop the questions in, guys. I need to go through my team a minute, and I really need some help from you guys, because it's been carnage what's been going on with the double game week stuff, and also we need to try and get a little bit of an idea on what exactly to do with my team. I'm sorry, I'm going to be a little bit selfish just for 5 minutes here. I hope you guys are okay with that, and hopefully my stuff will help you guys as well. I'm just checking to see if there's any news on Twitter, but I can't see much right now. No, I can't see too much. No, okay, cool. So this is how my team's looking right now. Pretty self-explanatory. The rest of the boys on the bench are kind of just stuck. So we got Pickford, Trent, Gabriel, Munoz, Semenyo, Gordon, Palmer, Salah, Eze, Visser, Isak. I was waiting for team news regarding Gordon and Eze. We've had the confirmation that they both are fine for the game week. Well, Gordon should be fine. I'm going to read into that he will be okay for this game week. So if I had to roll out as team right now, I think I'll be fine with it. Just for a little bit of context, I've got 2 free transfers available, 0 in the bank, which is not an ideal situation. And I will be looking to possibly try and get through game week 29 as part of a no free hit strategy. Now, if we take a look at my team in future weeks, this is how we're looking for game week 25. Again, I'm not loving it, But if I'm not chasing Aston Villa assets, I don't think there's anywhere else I really would go. And again, if you guys have any opinions, please do let me know in the comment section. I do have already Semenyo, so I could do Gordon to Kluivert, but it's just another Bournemouth player. It's fine, but I don't think I desperately need it this week. So coming into game week 26, I'm obviously going to have to sell slot for somebody, whether it be Eddie Howe or Arteta. But the rest of the team looks okay. I don't think there are any desperate moves here. I think the big thing I need to ask myself is, am I benefiting having an additional transfer in this week? I need to start moving this team towards a team that can actually feature in game week 29. And the more I can roll my transfer, the better. So this is how the team currently looks in game week 29. It's absolutely decimated. So players like Cunha need to come in. People like Haaland eventually might need to come in. People like Mbeumo might need to come into this team. So I could just go all out and just get the players that are long-term going to serve me well, like this. I could do that. Mbeumo in, Kluivert in, sell Gordon, sell Eze, and just be done with it. Get the players in that are good long-term. That's fine, but is it desperate this week? I don't think it's absolutely desperate for me. I think West Ham are a bit better than what they were previously. I don't think that's going to be an easy game for Brentford. So that is a consideration, but am I just forcing moves for the sake of forcing moves? I think I easily could just leave my team like this and just accept the team as it is. One consideration that I need to talk about is whether I was to try and squeeze in a Watkins or a Rodgers. Now, I don't think there's any easy way for me to get Watkins unless I sell Alexander Isak. So let's play that situation out a minute. If I was to bring in Watkins, and I don't really love that. I don't love this. Bring in Watkins for Isak, keep the other transfer in the bank. Go into game week 36. Sell slot, let's bring in Arteta for safe measures. And then the team would look something like this. Perfectly fine. I think Watkins is good at home against Chelsea. Pretty content. And then game week 27 would look like this. The problem, one less transfer, and my team isn't any closer to fielding a team in game week 29. And I feel like keeping the free hit now for later on in the season is just where I am currently leaning towards. I don't think there's any huge upsides in game week 29 for me to keep the free hit. So regardless, I'll have 4 free transfers available to build my team in game week 29. So just for an example here, who are the key players that are going to be really highly owned? Well, Mbeumo is going to be one of those. I think we're going to get someone like a Utara. So let's get Dango in a minute, for example. If we can get Kluivert, then that would be a better pick. I think someone like a Haaland, if we can get there, would be a priority because we are going to be wildcarding, remember. And maybe Salah coming out in order to accommodate these moves might be necessary. Remember, in game week 29, the priority teams are, as you can see displayed here. Who would be a priority, really, if I need to get Haaland in? Maybe someone like a Savinho. Just putting that out there. So I could get close to this team. And I'll be pretty fine with that. Wouldn't have Cunha, wouldn't have, of course, Wood. But I could easily take a -4 if I wanted to and accommodate them in. I could sell Vissa or I could sell Ndai and bring in someone like that. So I'm not too fussed about fielding a team. I can get to a team in game week 29 without a free hit. So I'm pretty chill about that situation. So I'm just going to put a poll in, guys. What would you do here? So I'm just going to leave my team up on the screen and I'm going to put a few options here. And it'd be awesome if you guys could let me know. Roll the transfer. Do Isak to Watkins. Remember, I will be losing some value in Watkins, which is not ideal. Isak to Watkins, or do Gordon and Eze to Mbeumo and Kluivert, or other. And if there is another option, just comment. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I'd be super interested to know. Outside of that, though, not really other considerations for my team. I do think rolling the transfer does pay dividends, but what is it actually doing long term for my team? That's the big question right now. What gets more points this week? Gordon and Eze or Mbeumo and Kluivert? With a consideration that I do have, of course, Semenyo already in my team. That is the big thing that I need to remember. And I don't think Mbeumo does fantastic against West Ham. I think that's going to be a tricky game for Brentford. So I'm also in a little bit of a spot like that. Or do I chase the upside? Do I chase the upside and try and get somebody... What's everyone thinking? Very split right now. 50% are saying Gordon and Eze to Mbeumo and Kluivert. Isak to Watkins 23% and roll the transfers the other one. Yeah, I was going to say that. Gordon out to Kluivert and nothing else. Yes, I do think that's a good move as well. That might pay dividends if I was to do Gordon out, which I don't love it because I think Gordon could do well against Man City, but also it's a lot if he doesn't do well and Kluivert does well, then it's a lot of pain, isn't it? So Game Week 25 would look like this. Game Week 26 would look like this, which would be perfectly fine as well. Be pretty content with that. And I have 2 free transfers available to do Arteta in. And I would look to roll the other transfer. So the team would look like this for Game Week 26, which would be looking strong. The only issue is I wouldn't have Mbeumo in for this week. And this is the reason why I'm part considering just getting rid of Eze now, because he's not been performing at all. But what I could do really is Kluivert in, play Eze for the home game against Everton, because I actually think it's an okay game, this one. Do I really want Gordon next week? No, that's the thing. Gordon next week at home against Forest, he could do well in that fixture. I don't think it's a terrible fixture for them. I think Forest have been fantastic, but it's not horrendous. Like, I don't think he could do okay. I think the big thing I need to consider is, do I bring in Dango, Otara, or am I bringing in somebody like Kluivert? Dango playing up top is really, really important. If we were to look at the numbers in a minute of Dango, let's have a look at how he's getting on as a forward. 0.2, 0.96, 0.47, 0.51. Fantastic numbers. Now, what we'll do quickly is I want to play out the worst case scenario here, that Dango doesn't do the business in terms of he actually loses his place by game week 29. Maybe Evan Nielsen comes back in. Can I actually still accommodate that? So team will look like this. I probably would then have to bring in Mbeumo for Eze this week. But it gets me closer to, of course, game week 29 blank. We'd have this for game week 27, which I think looks good. Isak not ideal, but is what it is. Game week 28. Again, double Bournemouth, not fantastic, but Spurs are pretty poor, and I think they could be hurt in that game. So the team looks okay. And then in game week 29. So if we assume Ndai's back, Mikalenko comes in, Vandenberg comes in, I'll have 3 free transfers to try and really enhance this team. So I think we got enough firepower here to justify Dango if we want to go there as well. I see a lot of you are saying the Gordon and Eze move, which I do agree is quite interesting. Is getting Enquiries to fund Watkins worth it, Adam? I think Enquiries has to play because of their situation right now. So yes, I do think it's an okay move. Gakpo to Cunha and Moyes to slot for -4, or Moyes and Emery for free. Gakpo to Cunha and Moyes to slot for -4, or Moyes and Emery for free. I would just do Moyes to Emery for free. I appreciate that the Gakpo situation is he might not be starting, so then your team's in a bit of a bad spot. But I think I'll chase the upside of Moyes to Emery myself. No double Villa, no Keith. For my team, I've really convinced myself now that a free hit in game week 29 just doesn't really help me. So if I was, let's play it out a minute again. This might help people. I hope it does. And we'll see how it looks. Ndai comes out for that. So I don't love the idea of doing Isak out. So what I could do is Gordon to Rodgers, for example, as a consideration. So the team will look something like this. I got Rodgers for the double, fantastic. And this is something I do need to consider. Game week 26, we're already locked in, doing Arteta or Eddie Howe, depending on what direction we want to take the team. And that's one thing I also need to remember. If I sell Gordon, it doesn't mean I haven't got a piece of Newcastle in game week 26 if I deem it important, because I can use the assistant manager chip on that. So the team will look like this. And again, the big thing that I will need to consider is getting Eze out to Mbeumo, because I think that's going to be really important against Leicester. I've shoehorned that in. 0.6 mil in the bank. Then we come to game week 27. Rodgers away, not ideal at all in that game against Palace. Not an ideal position to be in. I much prefer to have Brighton away for my Bournemouth double up. And then we come into this game again. Rodgers here, not ideal. I think because I got no Rodgers already, I think I just got to let it run. I think I just got to let it run and be done with it. I think that's where I am sitting right now. So I'm just going to end the poll here, guys. So I think the conclusion is... Oh, God, I don't think I left that in the chat, did I? Sorry, guys. Thoughts on Amad Tadanga and benching Gakpo? Amad Tadanga, bench Gakpo. Yes, don't mind that, because if we're assuming Gakpo's out for the Wolves at home game, then you're only actually getting one game in the Aston Villa away. Not amazing. Not amazing at all. Triple captain for me is likely going to be on Alexander Isak in game week 32 now, with those two home games against Man United and Crystal Palace. I think that's really, really ideal. Clive at hat-trick come in, yes. Are you suggesting Trossard and Mbeumo for Gordon and Eze? Don't mind that, Anton, at all. I don't love Trossard, so I'm going to not go Trossard, but I actually think his game time is going to be very, very good. So yes, I don't mind that at all. You should sell Gordon for... Yep, I think selling Gordon probably does make sense. I'm trying to think about, is there really much upside in me rolling my transfer this week? Probably not. Probably not. Would you start Van den Berg this week or an Everton defender? I probably would play the Everton defender, to be honest with you. I think that could be a close affair against Crystal Palace. I do not rate Brentford at all defensively myself. Bench one, Isak, Wood, Gibbs White or Watkins with injury risk. Okay, so you're not benching Watkins at all. He is an absolute starter in your team. I think I would bench Morgan Gibbs White. I think that'd be quite easy for me there to bench Morgan. Do I think it's crazy to captain Cliver? No, I think it's fine to captain Cliver. I don't think that's bad. Sorry. The absolute opposite of that. My head's all... Sorry. As I said, I've been ill this week. It is crazy to captain Clivert because you can't do it. We got a double game week. I would put Salah ahead of him. I'd put Trent ahead of him. I'd put every Liverpool and Villa player ahead of him. No, I would not be considering Clivert captaincy. It could pay up, but no, I don't think so. Oh, we got a super chat. Boy Norton, thank you so much. That is very, very generous. Thank you, mate. Don't have to do that. Always very generous. So I will obviously try and cover this as best I can. Hope you're well, man. And you missed the deadline last week, which is killer. Sorry to hear that. So last week, so didn't use any chips. Still managed to get 120 points. That's amazing. You got Alisson, Gabriel, Mikalenko. So Alisson perfectly fine with the double. Gabriel, Mikalenko, Trent. Not ideal with Mikalenko. Salah, Rodgers with a double. Sarr, Palmer, Gordon. Isak, Wood with a bench of Fabianski, Hall, and Dye and Greaves. Okay, so obviously Hall with a tricky game and Dye injured. Greaves just rubbish. 1 million in the budget, 1 free transfer. So this is difficult right now because I think if you have your triple captain available, I would be very tempted to use it this week. You could put it on Mo Salah, get yourself the double of Wolves at home and Aston Villa away, and then keep the assistant manager for a bit later on in the season. I don't love game week 26 for the assistant manager. And game week 27 is a little bit of an unknown because the table can obviously change between now and then. So I think if you have all your chips available, and I'm not sure if you do, I think the triple captain this week is actually a really good strategy. With the rest of your moves, with 1 million budget, you've already got triple Liverpool with double defence and Salah, so I think that's perfectly fine. And you've got Morgan Rodgers with a double, that's great. The rest of the defence is not ideal. Mikalenko is not a great pick, but it is what it is. And Sarr up against Mikalenko again is a problem. No Bournemouth midfield is not ideal. I would be very tempted to do Sarr out or Gordon out to a Bournemouth midfielder. I think Gordon to a Bournemouth midfielder feels good because it's going to free you up some funds for later on in the season. So maybe Gordon to somebody like a Kluivert, Semenyo or Tara, depending on your risk appetite, will give you a bit of funds available to then go elsewhere. Sarr, I feel like, is more of a player I'd want to sell, but Gordon frees up the funds. So Sarr to a Bournemouth midfielder if you don't think you need the funds. Otherwise, Gordon to a Bournemouth midfielder to really free up funds to give yourself flexibility in future weeks. Obviously, let me know your thoughts, mate, and I will try and cover that off without, obviously, another super chat, because that's very generous in itself. What do I think? Start Mbeumo or Wood? I would start... Oh my God, that is so tough. I think I would have to go for Mbeumo myself. And again, guys, if you're watching this, always massively appreciate it if you can smash that subscribe button. I can only go for another 5 minutes, which is a little bit disappointing, but I'm just cooked. I'm absolutely cooked. My voice is all over the place, so it's as good as I can do, really. So we'll try and get us through as many questions as possible. Just for a little bit of context, my team is looking like this right now, but I am tempted to do Gordon to Kluivert and just go double up on the Bournemouth and really lean on that. I don't know if I love it. But I also don't know. With a wild card in game week, yeah, I think Dango's the other one as well that I'm quite interested in. Just checking here to see what is going on right now. Yeah, there's nothing really going on right now on Twitter in terms of updates on players. So I think for me, it's a big thing of whether to go Utara or to go for Kluivert. That is the big one right now. Gordon to Kluivert. If I go Bournemouth, I have to go now, really. Have to go now with the Southampton fixture, which is fantastic. Who should you replace, Lewis or Konsa for Kirkes? I'd probably get rid of Konsa because he's ruled out for the double and he doesn't have a game in game week 29. So I would get rid of Konsa over Lewis. Timber or Huijsen? I would go for Huijsen because Ben White is back. And that could impact Timber because he played a lot of minutes. Maybe it's an opportunity for them just to, give him a little bit of rest at times. I'm not saying that will happen, but it could happen. It could happen. So, guys, let me know in the chat, who is your preference right now? Who do you prefer? Dango, Utara, I think that's how it's pronounced, or Kluivert. I think Gordon to one of these two makes sense for my team. Frees up funds for future weeks. I'll probably keep Eze for the foreseeable, just to see how he ticks over, and then go from there. Triple captain will be game week 32 with that announcement of the double, which they may have updated. Yes, they have. So we've got the double game week there. Alexander Isak will come in for me there. And Gordon's just been fine. He's been fine. I agree, Utara can be replaced from Evan Nielsen. That is correct. Agree. Kluivert is more sensible long term, and I do have the funds to go there. So I think, guys, let me know in the chat. Always massively appreciated. Do you agree? Because I can't lie, this hasn't been my week. Hasn't been my week this week. I've been struggling to keep my head with fantasy, just being ill, just always throws you off. Friday deadline's a killer, so always benefit from your guys' opinions. So let me know yes or no in the chat. Do you agree with Gordon to Kluivert? Give me a shout. Let me know. Tor, hope you're well. Let me know, you guys. Put a yes or a no. What are your thoughts? Gordon to Kluivert. I'm going to just keep an eye out for some of the chat right now because everybody's leaning towards Kluivert as opposed to Utara. Isak Jamalo saying, what a great name, Jamalo. What are people thinking? I'm leaning towards yes. Just getting Gordon done. Obvious move, yes. Bryn saying no. Numasri saying no. Eki saying yes. We've got a lot of yeses. Liverpool agenda says start Gabriel or Munoz. I mean, if you have Gabriel, you just got to go there. MD said trying to manifest a green arrow for you. Thank you so much. Yes, and do Eze to Embuemo. Yeah, I think that one is tempting, but I kind of already have Vissa. And I don't mind Eze for this week at home against Everton. I think Everton are going to be cooked after that Liverpool game. Remember, they played midweek. So it isn't like this is an Everton team that are just fresh and raring to go. So I think I want to keep hope with Eze for one more week. Gordon to Cliver, I think is going to be done. And then we're going to keep Eze for 1 week, and then we're going to bring in Embuemo the following week, and just reassess after that, and see how it goes. A little bit scary doing that, because Embuemo could do well in any fixture. But I feel like Vissa for this week is my coverage. So we're going to keep on that, I think. My chair's just going down, by the way. I've lost all. Just seeing what's going on right now to see if there's any news. Isak to Watkins for a -4. No, I do not like that for a -4 at all. And my chair has officially gone really low. I'm just like sinking in my seat right now. I do apologise. Yeah, I think, guys, we're going to bring in Cliver. I think we're going to do it on stream. Because I never do on-stream transfers. So let's do it. Is it true Andy Martin was seen in hospital with Cliver? Yeah, that guy is one of the best around, honestly. If you guys don't follow Andy Martin, he breaks the buck of a kind of a traditional FPL account. He just does amazing stuff. He set the standard. And obviously when he went to the stadium where he went up and measured his height compared to a sign is FPL history. So I think we're going to get it done because Eddie Howe is a liar and he always lies. So let's get it done. It's annoying because Cliver is obviously, but his numbers are good. Obviously he's on penalties, which is a bonus. That's not a bad thing that he's on penalties. Let's get it done. I think it makes sense. I'm double Bournemouth though, but I need it. Gordon out. Cliver in. Gordon hat-trick incoming. But we are going to do it. We're going to do it. We're done. We've gone double. Okay, that is the team. It's bad. I don't like it this week at all, but it is what it is. So I'm going to have to wrap up. I'm really sorry I'm going to have to wrap up. I would love to go until the deadline, but I just cannot do it. So my team's locked in. That is what we're seeing. I'm praying Eze delivers, but who knows? Who knows on that one? So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you can drop a like on the stream, it's always massively appreciated. If you can subscribe, it's always, again, massively appreciated. Let me just do a quick send out for some questions right now. Raul to Watkins. It changes the structure of your team so much. I probably would just stick with Raul, to be honest with you, unless you really want to chase it up. If your gut's telling you Watkins, do it. Would you do Bruno to Cliver and Gakpo to Watkins for a -4? I really like it if you're happy to take the risk with Watkins. I do like that if you're happy to take the risk, because Gakpo won't play both in this double. Should I triple captain Salah or use my manager chip? If so, on who? Yes, I would use my triple captain this week. Get it done with Mo Salah. I think that's a great double. It's worth noting, though, game week 32 of Isak double is also very, very nice. Bench one, Isak or Wood. It probably has to be both are talismanic, both on penalties, both on fire. Wood. I'm going to bench Wood. Should I triple captain Salah or use my manager chip? If so, I've covered that one off. Wissa or Wood? I would start Wood over Vissa every day of the week. And I hope you get a green arrow. Much love to you as well. I think all the questions are the same. Semenyo to Clivert? No. Keep Semenyo. Right. We're going to wrap it up there, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Massively appreciated. Sorry it's a shorter one. Ill is what it is. We will be back. Friday always causes chaos. So we're going to wrap it up there. Teams locked in. Feels quite good being locked in. And we are going to call it there. Have a good one, guys. Take care. I'll see you soon. Have a great game week. Cheers.